Dun-dun-dun. Hey. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. Welcome to Tuesday. If you're not on Tuesday yet, well, welcome to Tuesday. That's a very exciting intro to this live tonight. But thanks for being here and jumping on again. Yeah, it's. I don't know where in the world you are, but things are starting to happen again in New Zealand, music-wise. Bars are opening. Hey, Julian, nice to see you. We're in level 2 of our 4-stage lockdown. So level 1 being the lightest, best one, and level 0, which doesn't get talked about at some stage, I'm sure will exist when we move all through this whole thing and get back to just living life and not being so concerned about everything. But yeah, it's nice back booking shows and doing gigs and getting all that happening. So I hope that is a good sign of things to come around the world for all of you as well, to be playing and doing things. Hey, David. Hey, Mark. Nice to see you again. Yeah, welcome to another Tuesday live stream. I have spent a bunch of the day digging into Ed Sheeran's Bloodstream, actually learning a loop song that is done as a loop song, which is nice. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Ozzy. Yeah. I sharpened up. I'm not sure if I like it, to be honest. This happens regularly. I have a beard and I get over it and I shave it off and I look in the mirror and think, I quite like that. So it grows back. I'm sure that's why you're all here. You're just here to chat about beards. Does anyone have a really good beard, by the way? I'm quite a fan of epic beards, but I don't have the patience for it. I get over it and shave it off and start again. So Florian, hey, how's it going? Hey, everybody. Hey, also, I've been thinking, just a consideration, but I think I will set up a Facebook group during the week. I know not everyone's on Facebook, but also, David, nice. Yeah, cool. Come in, let's do a show together. If you're in New Zealand, let's, if you actually are coming to New Zealand or planning to tour, please do let me know. I would love to see you and meet you and say hi, and we can jam and have a beer and hang out. But also, there's the potential of doing some shows and things like that. It's probably sorry, I'm reading your comments and trying to talk, and as you know, I think of too many things at once all of the time, but that's kind of how my brain works, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, I trust you are too, because you're here. So I know I have someone who has a beard. Ozzy, I like that. And Stephen's got his supplies sorted with yeah, nice, with pizza from said beard. I like it. You've probably got some good growth if you've got, beard pizza. I hope it's not a whole slice. Yeah, Bloodstream. It's cool, and I've been picking apart. Ed Sheeran has the output of his loops are actually controlled by the sound engineer. So, which is amazing, because any venue and gig, imagine having your loops, and I'm sure he does, but you don't have to actually control necessarily the volume and EQ and things of what you're playing. Someone is out the back mixing it. Now, that's a total overview rather than purely saying like he can ignore musicality in terms of mixing and volume, but there definitely is a benefit to that, and it's given me a few new ideas as well with the Voice Live 3 for certain songs. For those of you that have Voice Live 3, just an experiment, but if you're layering things on track 2, actually turning down the level of that track so you can add a lot more that just fills out a sound rather than taking over your main track. But that's all just experiments and new things. Like all of you, learning new things every week and experimenting with things. Yeah, it's this fun journey of music that we're all on. So Yeah. So anyway, this is a super long welcome. As every week, I have supplies, to keep me going. But as every week, fire any comments and things that what's going on in the chat, and also if let me know where in the world you are and kind of what's happening music wise. Are things opening up, or is I know New Zealand's in the media being like we totally conquered coronavirus. So yeah, we might be a little bit ahead on some things. We're behind on many others. That's okay. A fake Russian choir in Mullumbimby called Dusty Iski. Okay. How, are they fake Russians, or is it a fake choir? Morning, Grimsh. Hey, oh, thanks, man. I would love to come to Germany. I have not made it there yet, but that would be superb. To the US in July, that is a potential option. Yeah, feel free to reach out and we'll maybe chat, David. But Josh, kicking off questions and things. Favorite way to have a main mic stand set up is I typically have it slightly to my right. I don't know if you're watching this, if this comes across as my left, so that and the reason for that, I tend to use my left foot with pedals a lot more than my right. So my pedal board is actually slightly to the left of the mic stand in a typical setup. And I like having it angled slightly across. Again, in terms of where that sits, obviously I want space for my guitar. So it's going to be angled back. But it means that from here, singing, I can look down and see my pedal board and gear. And as I say, I tend to use my left foot typically for the majority of my pedals. I do use my right foot as well. And I've had some fun tap dancing when I've been using that. I keep calling it a Bigfoot, but they changed their name. The stomp pedal that I have that's like a kick drum sound. So when you're doing that and then looping and changing effects, that can get really fun. I don't think I do that particularly anymore, but that was definitely a lot of interesting tap dancing. So, Julian, a lot of people, nice. Oh, cool. A lot of people in Malaysia have been playing via live streaming. I think, that's what a lot of us. Oh, I can't speak this evening. A lot of us have been doing, and I thought about it the other day. I did a live stream on Instagram. It just because I was just chilling at home and sat down and played, playing through a few tunes, and I just haven't done it. I've been really enjoying the break and taking some time out and actually mapping out a bunch of where I'm headed and what I'm up to behind the scenes planning, I guess, as opposed to just kind of like waking up and doing the same routine on autopilot, which can be easy to do, right? So yeah, Peter, right? Slow to open is Julian. By the way, sorry, I love that you played outside of your house just for fun. It was something that's on my radar was to go down to the local supermarket, like opposite it, and run a battery powered rig and just play, but it never happened. So I'm really stoked to hear that you did that. I think that's awesome. Josh, nice. I hope that's something to experiment with for the mic stand thing. And Peter, thanks. Good morning, sir. Thanks for getting up and being on. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Our saying restaurants are at 40%. Our bars and venues, the kind of deal here is that people have to be seated at the moment. So for some venues that works fine. For some venues that yeah, becomes much more of a challenge. But it's super nice to be chatting with venues and seeing live music emerge and seeing people get back out and have some fun and socialize from a distance in many cases still. So, James, hey man, how's it going? Nice. Was either yeah, fully. Uh, right, Josh. Connecting a USB MIDI keyboard to a loop station without an interface. I'm pretty useless, to be honest, in terms of MIDI. I really don't use it, so I just don't. I don't have experience with it. I don't know the answer, to be honest. I'm yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to say I don't know the answer. That's the easiest thing. I'm sure you will figure out the way. Yeah, I've seen people running iPads and various different setups. But yeah, it's it can be a fun process to try and get the it's a fun process firstly to try and get a loop pedal that has the ins and outputs that you want and connecting all that. So then adding things that have different connections can be a challenge. So cool. Peter, yes, the non-looped right hand part of Dancing in the Dark. We'll get into that. And feel free to just put comments and questions, and I will come back to them in a mo. But I started experimenting with this, and I'm in E flat. So just in case you're wondering for tuning, I started experimenting with seeing if I could play the melody for Dancing in the Dark, basically. I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. So I'm trying to play it with my hand still on the chord, which I'm sure you've watched and you've figured out. Ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning. I go to bed feeling the same. We're at B flat. And again, when I first learnt the melody, I went to a major seventh so that I could get the melody. I ain't nothing but tired. And I'm just tired and bored with myself. And then my second finger's already there. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. So then we're into C, help. You can't start a fire, which would have your... I'm not sure how easy it is for you to see my fingers on this stream. Can't start a fire. That's my second finger lifting off and doing a hammer on the third string. Can't start a fire without a spark, which is the open D. This gun's for hire. And again, we're kind of at a B major 7 shape. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. And then we're back to the F. So that's just kind of the process of getting there. And then I went, can I get the little slap in as well? Now I'm like, how do I play this? This is great. So there's this kind of slap that's going on as well. I wish I sat down and really broke down each part, but really from there it was so you'll notice my thumb is just keeping a pretty simple, steady groove, and it's really just to keep this chord there. Hearing the bass, yes, Ozzy, I'm in E flat. keeping the bass going. So it's like, and what I'd suggest if you're working this out and doing your own version is is basically starting to piece together like, and then piecing together where the beat is for these things, because it's I've put it together much of a feel thing and a bit of a kind of I hate to say hack thing, but it kind of did become that. And then obviously I've got that looped rhythm in the background as well. So it gives the sense that I'm doing more when I play the melody, but and like it's pushed on that note. Use just a little help. You can't start a fire. Can't start a fire without a spark. Pistons for hire. So that's probably, I from memory, I don't think I played the melody, but during this bit, but that's probably the part that's a little bit sneaky, is getting to that open D with the B flat on the fifth string. And yes, if you've just tuned in, I'm tuned to E flat. This guns for hire. So we're sort of walking up a major 7 there, just to get that melody in. Again, I don't think I actually play through the whole melody, but this is where it all came out of on that tune. So that's what I'm playing, Peter. If I'll just do it super slowly for that F, and I think probably the most useful thing is, if you want to copy exactly this, great, you can go over it super slowly. If you want to use this as a basis of being like, oh, okay, cool, I could probably come up with my own arrangement as well, then that might be a way to go for this. But okay, so you'll notice I'm filling out just these two Fs beyond the actual melody, just to keep just to keep the chord there, so that we don't just get cool. And you'll notice there's a little slap and things going there. Cool. Nice. Yeah, there's a thing I like, which is learning to play the melodies and putting that, essentially that slap in. So as a start, so there's a little slap that's kind of giving me my feel and things underneath it. So cool. James, hey man, 12 to 53 elixir strings is what I use that are hiding in a cupboard. Yeah, that's the strings. That's what I'm using. I find it's a good balance between being able to bend and still getting a nice full rich tone, and then obviously I kind of want a bit of that thicker bottom end. That I just feel you get I feel a bigger, sort of warmer, richer tone with thicker strings. But yeah, obviously everyone's choice, different combos. But let's just go up, and I'll go back. Stephen, yeah, the Zoom L8, awesome, man. That's cool that you got it. Right, there. Cool, nice. There's a video that I'm about to do on. It's on my list of using it as the Zoom L8. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's what I'm running this live stream through, and I have a little mic here. And if I do need to do looping and direct things depending on what we talk about, then I basically have the second channel ready as a direct input through my loop pedal, so that I can give you guys the loop sound as well. But yes, there's a whole section I basically left out talking about overdubbing and using the Zoom L8 as a multi-track recorder. So I'm basically going to walk through that, record a little song, like the process you would in a studio. Guitar, maybe some other guitar parts. Might put a rhythm section in. I might just use the guitar for rhythm, just for fun, and then doing some vocals and harmonies, and basically mapping that out across the tracks, using overdub and the little metronome as a click track, just like you would in Logic or Pro Tools or any of those things at a studio. But of course, you have the advantage of being battery powered wherever you want. Although you run the risk of, obviously, if you're in the middle of a park, every track will get the same kind of wind or park noise, or wherever you are. But yes, I will do that. So please be on my case. It's on my radar. It's one of those things I'm like, could I have some more hours every day to do all the things I want to do? That'd be great. Glenn, hey, welcome to the live stream. Welcome, everybody. If you've just jumped on, appreciate you being here. If you have questions, fire them in the chat, and I'll kind of work my way down and we'll get to things. And also, thanks to everyone that sent me a message after last week's live stream. I think I've replied to all of you, and we've started a few little conversations going on. I have some more replying to do, but appreciate you sending me a picture of what your goals and focus is for the next little while. It's very cool. Sweet, Glenn. The use of click tracks in live music, what is pre-recorded? I might ask you to just explain a little bit more what you mean about that, if you want to fire it in the chat. I've done a few things where I've played for shows as the guitarist that we're playing to a click or a track that's pre-recorded. So it means in that case, I was doing live guitar parts. There was live keyboards, and those tracks have been taken out of the mix for the show for a singer. But the rest of the instrumentation, strings, drums, bass, things like that, were all part of the track. So it was this cool balance, I guess, between a live show, which it was, with a filled out kind of orchestration to it. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's what you're meaning or something else. So if you want to let me know, that'd be great. David, Faithfully by Journey in 2 weeks for a wedding loop pedal. Thoughts? I don't know the song, to be honest. Let's chat. You sent me a message before, so I'll have a look after this and we'll see. There's usually a way to figure something out. Yeah. And I'm saying that with no idea of the song, but it might just be some sort of rhythm to help fill out what you're doing. We'll see. Nice. Also, wherever it was before, Josh, in terms of the USB MIDI option, Florian's chucked some info there, so hopefully that might be useful to you as well. And yeah, we'll go from there. Sweet. Thanks, Stephen. Cool. Uh, oh, cheers, Ozzy. Yeah, look, honestly, I actually it's one of the things I put in one of the looping videos I did, and it's super super common is the idea of trusting yourself and looking at Bloodstream today from Ed Sheeran. It's cool seeing him just launch straight into it, which is great. And so the thing I put in the loop timing was trust yourself. Um, it's actually okay to like trust yourself and totally screw up, and sometimes that happens. But uh, there's such a difference that happens in terms of attitude of just being like, right, I'm gonna nail this, and being like, boom, with the attitude of I'm gonna nail it, versus like, oh man, I hope I get this right. And I do it too. Like honestly, I do it sometimes where I'm like, okay, uh and one of what like I hope this goes well. But one of the things obviously is practice. And hopefully you reach the point where through your practice it is going well that kind of leads to that confidence as well. So um cool. Live PA rig. I am running a lot of times the you've probably seen on videos that a compact mobile. It's an amp I wanted for a long, long time because I love its tone for guitar, acoustic guitar specifically. And I actually have a few friends that play electrics through it, and just have trying to think what just have an overdrive, a super light overdrive to help give it the kind of feel that an electric amp sound without being crazy. But what was I answering? My live PA rig. So I run into that and then into house systems from there. And sometimes if I'm doing my own mixing and that sort of thing as well, I will actually run my guitar into there and my vocal into there and send that to a mixer or a house PA. And it means I have to tweak any settings on the I'm looking to my right because it is just over there. I have to tweak any vocal settings on that amp. That's my only control, because then I'm sending a mix of guitar and vocal together. But otherwise, I will still usually run my guitar into that and then out into a desk. I've been taking for the last few shows, if it's my desk, I've been taking the Zoom and then running into a Behringer sub, the Euro Live 1200D from memory. And then two JBL Eon 610s. So super simplified setup. Would struggle with large numbers outdoors, but when that's the case, it's either I've got a sound crew and PA set up in general if it's larger, or I'm just gonna hire stuff, and that becomes part of the deal. So yeah, I used to have a much larger rig as well and carried it around for events and all sorts of stuff, and now it's just like, cool, if that's needed, I just hire it for that event. So yeah, that's the setup. Guitar, percussion, or drum machines. I use both. I don't use a dedicated drum machine, but samples into looping, which is either on my phone using iMachine, or a little Akai MP8 little drum pads. So yeah, that's my option. I think a lot of these things, it's like it depends what sound you want to do and want to get, and if you can't get a decent drum and percussion sound from your guitar, then you kind of like, there's a lot of things you can do and experiment and figure something out, but you kind of sort of forced to to head down the path of something like a phone, an external input, to get that. And again, just for this stuff, if I'm doing a solo wedding combo, looping and getting a dance floor going or something like that, and that needs to happen, then I will usually put things in on the guitar to get the track going, and then I typically overdub, usually from my phone in those situations with iMachine, kick and snare or kick and clap, or like finger snaps, so that my kind of 1 and 3 is pretty well locked in, and it's just much more crisp than I tend to get on the guitar, which obviously then locks in the groove and just has everyone moving. Yeah, so it's dun, dun, dun. Cool. Julian, I forgot to message last week. Hooking up a loop station setup to an audio interface to a phone. Technically, I would say yes, it's possible, because I'm just thinking you'd come out of your loop station into the audio interface. That's totally straightforward and normal. And then from there, in terms of getting it to your phone, I would suggest you probably have a headphone out from your audio interface. I would use that into your phone, and you'll need a TRRS adapter, so that the audio signal will be recognized by your phone. It won't, because it basically needs to think that it's a mic send that's going into your phone, not just listening. So not just sending audio out from the connection. So that should work. Yeah, message me if you get stuck. But cool. Glenn, cool. Carrying on from what we did before. Oh, cool. And James, iRig, Julian, might be another option, which actually I've used before, and that's already set up with a connection to your phone. So it splits the signal. So nice. Cool. All right, Glenn. A guy I know mentioned use click tracks. Guesses backing, and he plays over it. Yeah, cool. The VL3 does have some options, and it while it won't. This is a tough term for me to answer. While it won't fix timing errors on loops, it sort of will. So it has built in a couple of options with quantize and with smart setup, where it analyzes what you've done and tries to match that. So it's not going to correct everything, and it has a few little things that come out interestingly sometimes. If the timing is too far for it to process with its own brain power. But one thing you can do is you can actually import tracks into the Voice Live 3, and then you'll be playing them. You can import them as backing tracks or as loop tracks, which will allow you to have those as the basis of your song, and then you can loop with it. It's a bit of process and probably a bit of reading to do, but that is all in the manual on the different options on how to set that up. Yeah, and then the interesting part is, if you've got something that can be MIDI controlled and like is MIDI with your backing tracks, then the VL3 can lock onto that timing, and you should be good to build your own loops with it. But yeah, it's sort of, there's a lot of different options on how to do that and which way you want to go. So I hope that kind of helps. Have you just got the VL3, or has it been around for a while? Let me know. Lagrange. I don't. Is that a question? Like, would you or do you? No. It's currently no, James. I don't. But sure. Um, da-da-da. Mm. Right. Oh, okay, cool. Aussie. Yeah. Look, that's an endless question. Is if you use drum loops and then play live and have pre-recorded stuff and that sort of thing, is it still live music? Um, yeah, if you're still playing live, it's still live music. I think it it just depends on the feel and sound that you want to go for. Um, and actually, sorry, coffee time. A really good example of this is a friend of mine, superb singer and keyboardist player. He created backing tracks for what he does himself. They're very good. It sounds very professional, but I stopped enjoying going to see him live because it was like I there was so much in the tracks that was sort of like really hard to tell when he was playing or not. And so I kind of was like, yeah, um, if you do a gig without all that stuff, I'll come see you. So it was just for me, it was like it was overproduced, it was too much, and yeah, it didn't do it for me. Um, so yeah, nice. Um, love it. The iRig supporters and users. I have a super old one somewhere there that was super fun for practicing and playing around with. But it's actually a really good option now if you're doing like live streams and things like that, because obviously you've got audio straight into your phone depending on what you're playing and running. Um, nice. Thanks, David. I appreciate that, man. Um, Yeah, Chris, it becomes carrier. Yeah, look, it that is a classic, and again, different people love different things. So I don't have any right or wrong answers. I was asked to debate like the difference between DJs and live music, and I was like, okay, great. I honestly think with that stuff, I'm like, if you love DJs, go to a DJ gig. Awesome. Perfect. And there's excellent DJs that really have a cool vibe and are really creative and skilled at their craft. It's something I don't do and I don't understand. I in terms of actually doing it, I have zero skills for mixing and DJing. So great, but they're just different. So same story where it's like you have two singers that they're great and they go and perform and everything's with backing tracks. It's like that's awesome. There'll be people that love them. There'll be people that aren't into that, and I just yeah, it's like one of those things where I think it's for us. We've got to keep uh, not keep just make a choice about what we want to do and what fits us. And to be honest, you can always change it if you're doing something that you're like, I'm not into this anymore. So cool, nice, sweet. Yeah, and Aussie, I think there's a great comment. Like balance what you're doing with pre-recorded stuff and tracks, uh, with doing some stuff that's not, and that's typically the same for me. Not everything is looped at a show, um, and I do find my little stomp pedal really handy to just put that bottom end in when I'm not looping. So, right, if you have any mysterious questions, put them in the chat. I'm gonna eat some licorice, um, because it's yum, and I've been eating quite a lot of candy during lockdown. I'll be honest. But thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you all. I really hope that we're all getting back to playing music and doing some live stuff again. I would like to see that happening more around the world, but I'm also loving seeing everything happening online and people recording and doing all sorts of stuff, which is great. Okay, last couple of questions. If you have anything, fire it in. My licorice is disappearing. And then I will be gone. Right. 6.5, 0.9. And then Chomley, I don't think that's a problem at all. I'm a fan of doing what works. If you start having problems with it, then it's a problem. Oh, Devane, hi man. Nice to see you here. Cool. Guitar percussion tips. Honestly, I think I say this a lot. Experiment. It's disappearing. Experiment with your cheers, Peter. Experiment with your guitar and sounds that you're going to get. Like, it really is a case of every guitar is different. I don't know what I would do on your guitar. Okay, and if you watch, there's some similarities that go through all guitars, right? You're going to get your best bass kind of sound from some combo around the pickup and the bridge section. Whether you're using a thumb on the strings, whether you're hitting that section, there's people that hit, again, moving towards the bass side of things on their guitar. You can use your palm, you can use fingers. Everything has a slightly different sound. So I genuinely think it is something that that's worth checking out and doing. And yeah, that's honestly, I wish I could just be like, just do this. It exactly works every time, but it's not what I've found. Glenn, easy lick riff and chord progression. I actually like. Man, it's been a long time since I played this. The thing that popped into mind is actually the. Treasure by Bruno Mars, but it depends. It depends how simplified we want to go. So I'm already aware I've made it complicated to just explain in one simple thing, but there's a lot of different ways we could do it. I'm falling into a trap of making it complicated and teaching different things. Actually, here's an old school song that that might be fun to play around with. So chords are easy. How long is this? We'll do simple. And you're not going to hear anything at this point. Let's have some loop. So the chords, C major 7, A minor 7, D, E. We're going to put a bass line in because it's just a nice little bass line. Whoa! Just redid that. Played your Rod Stewart one last time, yay. 1 a week to end on, nice. So there's some nice things we can add, and I think this is a really great way to learn caged. That's on my list to do as well. But if we do those same chords further up the neck, just to add into this loop. Notice I'm playing them softly. I don't want them to take over. Whenever I hear goodbyes, reminds me, baby, of you, yeah. I break down and cry. Next time I'll be true. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's Teardrops, right? This is like an 80s track that I heard in Queenstown at a little gig, and yeah, it was fun. But it just sets up nicely. There's a little bridge where you kind of keep a rhythm going, or just drop out for it. The music don't feel as good as when I felt it with you. Nothing that I do or feel ever feels like I felt it with you. And then yeah, there you go. There's something to play around with, maybe. Sweet. Thanks everyone for hanging out again. I talk way too much. I'm gonna go and finish my coffee. It was like hot half an hour ago. And finish off the last of my licorice as well. But thanks for hanging out. David, the Takamine is an ND15C, which if you look up, no longer exists. Womack and Womack, there you go. And yeah, Superman, Ed Sheeran. Yes, we were talking about that today. I've spent the day looking at Bloodstream because I think that'll be super fun. And I realized singing it today, I was like, man, my voice is not happening at the moment. But that's okay. I have 2 days until the next gig, although I'm filming tomorrow. So really I have about 12 hours. But there you go. Cool. Nice. Awesome. All right. Thanks, team. Appreciate that. Grimsh, thanks, man. And let's go on to that next time. Honestly, it's kind of whatever you guys chuck in the chat is, I'll find my thoughts in and we can chat. And as I say, during the week, I am going to set up a Facebook group because there's a lot of info here and I think a really cool community where you guys connecting back and forth with each other will actually be able to help and answer questions, which I think is super cool. So I'm going to do that and keep practicing some Ed Sheeran, actually, to be honest. So and probably go and remember the words and have a practice of Teardrops because it's been a long time. Stephen, love it, mate. I will be onto it and yeah, if you get stuck, flick me a message. It's cool to hear that you've got the unit. There's a lot in it, and yeah, it was actually today's list, but then my day changed a little bit. So it's happening soon. We'll see you all in the magical world of YouTube soon. Cheers.